G'day mates! Welcome to a new social studies video where we are going to learn about another country. And this is really exciting. If you remember, last time we learned all about the country of Japan, correct? Now, today we are going to learn about a new country, and it's a continent as well. And if you can guess by what I said at the beginning, we are going to be studying about the country of Australia. Remember, we learned about Japan and it was in the continent of Asia? Well, Australia is the smallest continent and it is an island continent down here. And today we will visit the country of Australia. Australia is about as big as the United States. Since it is way down here on the globe, so if you see, it's on the bottom part of this map, and there's a line across the middle. That's the meridian. Since it's below the meridian, the nickname for Australia is the land down under. And so if you think about it, they called it that because it is below that meridian line, and it's under that line. So the land down under is Australia, and we're going to learn about that today. So let's go ahead and learn about it. Remember, listen carefully because I'm going to ask you some questions at the end. And here we go. Here's Australia. How can we travel to get to Australia from Japan? Remember, Japan is in Asia. It's an island. We're going to probably need to do two things. We could fly a plane, or we could ride a ship from Japan to Australia. It'd be a long ship ride if we did that, or a boat ride. So let's learn about that. This is our friend Albert. Albert lives in Australia. He can hardly wait to show us his country. As we arrive by ship, we sail into Sydney Harbour. The Sydney Harbour Bridge is the largest bridge in the world. So here we have Sydney Harbour Bridge. We also see the beautiful Sydney Opera House, which is right here. When people all over the world see pictures of the Sydney Opera House, they immediately think of Australia. Some of the countries we have studied have been small with many people living in them, like England and Japan, and they are both very crowded. Australia is the opposite. It is a big country with not many people in it. Australia has many interesting animals. Albert wants to show us all of them. Albert has a brown furry animal in his arms. It is his pet wombat. As you can see, there's his little wombat. A baby wombat is carried inside its mother's pouch, just like another animal that lives in Australia. Do you know what that animal is? It's the kangaroo. A baby kangaroo is called a joey. Can you say that? Joey. The adult will grow to stand about 6 feet tall, though some can be 7 feet tall. Now, kangaroo's hind legs are very powerful. It can hop up to 40 miles an hour. That's faster than we drive on most city streets. Australia also has many beautiful birds. Emus are big birds that look a lot like ostriches. They can't fly, but they can run fast. And here's a picture of an emu. Let's look at some more animals in Australia. Albert will show us koalas. Here's a koala. They are furry animals that look like teddy bears. Koalas spend most of their lives up in trees. They love to eat the leaves of eucalyptus trees. When baby koalas are born, they are about the size of a nickel. That's really small. Like kangaroos and wombats, their mothers have a pouch where the baby koala stays as he grows bigger. Platypuses are very strange animals. That's this animal here. They have a bill and webbed feet like a duck, and a tail and fur like a beaver. Dingoes are a type of wild dog. Albert's family has to watch that dingoes don't get too close to their sheep. Since Australia is at the bottom side of our world, its seasons are the opposite of ours. When it is winter and cold here, it is summer and warm there. That means that in Australia, Christmas comes in the middle of their summer. Some Australians go to the beach after they eat their Christmas meal. Isn't that so funny? But it is opposite. It'll be cold here and summer there. Or when it's summer here, it's winter in Australia. Okay, now let's continue talking about our papers that we have, page 129 to 130. We'll talk about that one first before we move on. This is a picture of Albert. Albert welcomes us to Australia. He lives on a sheep station in the Australian outback. Albert is holding his pet wombat. And so what you need to do is color the picture of Albert and what he is wearing here. Then, on the back, there are many interesting animals that live in Australia. Now, can you tell me what these animals are? What is this animal here up in the tree? Yes, that's a koala. What is this animal here? A kangaroo. And how fast can kangaroos hop? 40 miles per hour. That is so fast. And what is this animal right here? Yes, it's an emu. If you look carefully, they labeled all of these animals and you can read it if you sound it out carefully. And what is this animal down here that's very different? Yes, that is the platypus. And the platypus has like a bill and webbed feet like a duck, but it has fur and a tail like a beaver. So that's really cool how God made these wonderful animals. All right, let's ask some questions. What very large ocean touches the island continent of Australia? That is the Pacific Ocean. That is the largest ocean in the world. What other two countries did we study that are close to the bottom of the world? We learned about another one a few weeks ago, and it was in South America, which was below, and it was the country of Peru. Good work. All right. Now, let's continue talking about Australia. Now, most of the people who live in Australia live in cities next to the ocean. They love water, sports like swimming, surfing, skin diving, sailing, etc. So most of the people that live in Australia are going to live along the edges of the island. In the middle is mostly desert, and so they like to be by the ocean, okay? Their houses look a lot like ours, but Albert and his family live on a sheep ranch many miles from the coast. They call it a sheep station. Albert's father has over 1,000 sheep on his station, and Albert helps take care of them. Fences are very important to keep out the dingoes that might attack the sheep. Albert's father hires other men to help with the sheep. In Australia, they call these ranch workers jackaroos. So the helpers are called what? Jackaroos. Australians raise thousands of sheep. In the spring, the sheep will get a haircut and the wool will be cut off. The wool will be sold all over the world. People use it to make blankets, sweaters, jackets, mittens, etc. Children who live on big stations live so far away from towns that they are not able to go to school like we do. Instead, many go to school by computer, like we are. It is called the School of the Air. Albert listens and talks to his teacher on his computer, just like we're doing now. Today, Albert will take us to visit a famous Australian landmark, Uluru, or Ayers Rock. It is a huge rock on the Australian plains that stands, here it is right here, that stands 1,000 feet high and is almost 6 miles around. It looks red in the sunset. Isn't that beautiful? And it's huge. Friends of Albert from the next sheep station are coming for a cricket game today. Cricket is like baseball, and it's Albert's favorite summer sport. After the game, we will all have a barbie. Because it is so warm, Australians can barbecue outside all year long. Albert loves hamburgers as much as you do. They call the evening meal tea, not supper or dinner. So if they wanted to have a barbecue, they would say, we're gonna have a Barbie, or throw the meat on the Barbie, and that means put the hamburgers on the barbecue. There is a beautiful underwater world out in the ocean close to Australia known as the Great Barrier Reef, and some of you guys might know that if you've seen Finding Nemo. Brightly colored tropical fish live among the coral. And coral is actually made by tiny sea animals, and they are called coral, so they're little animals. And if you can see, there's a picture of the Great Barrier Reef. See how beautiful and colorful it is? It's amazing how God created that. Australians speak English like we do, but we would not be able to understand some of the expressions they use. Do you know what these are? Do you know what a lolly is? What's a lolly? A lolly is actually a hard candy like a sucker. Do you know what a bloke is? What is a bloke? That's a man, so they call men blokes. And what about a mate? If they were to say, good day, mate, what would that mean? A mate is like a friend. Awesome. And there are so many other things. Australians, they like to shorten a lot of their words, and one of my friends is Australian, and she taught me a lot of the words that they shortened. And it's pretty funny, but you got to know what they're talking about, or else you'll be really confused. So let's go ahead and bring out our other paper that is in your packet. It's page 131 and 132. And here it is. I'll read the instructions. There are many sheep on the sheep station where Albert lives. Ranch workers are called jackaroos. Good. And then here's Uluru, or Ayers Rock, and it's a huge rock on the Australian plains. It looks red in the sunset. So here's the pictures of those two things that we learned about today. And then on the back is another picture. Albert loves it when his family has a Barbie, which is a barbecue, and the boys will play a game of, what is that game that they like to play that's like baseball? They call it what? They call it cricket. Good. So it looks a little bit different, but it's about the same as baseball. Their bat and things look a little bit different though. And then so here what you're going to do is color the picture of the boy playing cricket. So thank you so much for joining me today in our lesson all about Australia, and we will see you guys tomorrow in our next lesson. And until then, bye-bye.